What a do word, it's your boy DJ Sounds Great, and today we have somebody in here that's been dope since I met him. You know what I'm saying? We got Saseddrick Washington up in the house. What's good, Saseddrick?
Man, everything's great, man. Thank you for having me, brother. We're about to make history.
All day, every day. So let's tell the world what you do, because I know, but what do you do, my guy?
But look here, I do a little bit of everything, man. My calling card is that I'm a comedian, but I also do acting. I also sing and put together stuff, host events, all types of things, man. But my calling card is comedy.
So how'd you get started into comedy? What motivated you? Was it Eddie or?
Man, you know what? Actually, man, what motivated? I've always been like the class clown type, man. Cut up like to make people laugh. I've always enjoyed comedy, man. Some of my biggest inspiration were actually comedians. It's funny you mentioned Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was one of my idols growing up. Bill Cosby, Richard Pryor, people like that. And I always wanted to be in entertainment in some facet. And I sang for a good little while, and then I tried comedy out, and I was hooked, man. I was hooked ever since then.
So what was your very first set? Do you remember that?
Yeah, my very first set. My very first official comedy show was over at Club 706. I opened up for Tyler Craig, a good friend of mine. Dwayne Poole was the promoter, and my very first set. It was magical, man, because I remember I came out, I didn't know what I was going to talk about. I knew a couple things I was going to touch on. And I remember I said, I was telling a couple jokes, and then it was a guy in the audience with like a gold, a bronze type outfit on. Like the whole thing was like whole bronze. I said, man, I told the lady, your man in here looking like a bronze medal. And then this lady that was in the very first chair, she laughed so hard, I could see like the ball in the back of her throat. And that's when I knew. I said, "Oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing."
That's what's for you.
That was it, man.
So, far as the transition between comedy and acting, what took you from point A to point B?
I've always been enamored by actors. Some like actors are very intense people. Like Denzel Washington, Al Pacino. Those are some of my favorites. Billy Bob Thornton. Just great actors in the way they can transform themselves and do different things. And I've also looked at myself as like a chameleon. Because a comedian has to adapt to different situations, different crowds, different settings. So it's all the same challenge to me. So coming into acting, I have to, because when I come in and tell a joke, I have to make you think that it's funny. I have to take you through my world, to my mind, and make you think that it's funny. And with acting, I have to make you think that whatever I'm portraying at the time is real. So they're pretty much one and the same. So it was a seamless transition for me.
All right, because I know as far as a lot of comedians, people tell me I'm funny all the time and I be dead serious. But I know as far as a comedian that they see the humor in life and that they're actually extremely serious people. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with that. A lot of comedians do have some very, very serious vices. Me personally, I'm pretty much touch and go. I'm silly most of the time, but you do have to have your certain thing that you are serious about because thing about comedy and laughter, the serious things is what's funny. The most thing that you can relate to, regular life instances. I can go out and tell you an elaborate story and paint a picture for you. But if I tell you about something that you can relate to in your everyday life, even things that may not even be that funny, but if I can relate them to you in a way to make them funny, and you actually think about, you know what? Yeah, that is funny. I have gone through that. I do know somebody like that. Those are the things that make it relatable.
That's beautiful. When it comes to fellow comedians here in the city, have you tried to do like a Kings of Comedy type thing? Because I know there's Marcus Hawkins, and there's a few other comedians with some big names that are steady doing it all the time. Like when you guys went on the news,
yeah,
and they said that the comedy scene is no laughing matter. I was like, that's my man's right there. So, are you working on something like that?
Actually, I haven't really. I've worked with a lot of different comedians in the area. Probably everyone in the area I've done something with, but we haven't been able to come together as a unit to put everything together because it's just so much, so many differences and so many egos and different things like that. We haven't been able to really put it together like that. When I first started comedy, I wanted to form a team and have everybody together. I thought it'd be cool if we have all these people, but it never seems to work out that way. Something always gets in the way. Somebody gets upset about something, and people have a lot of different spats and falling out, and they kind of separate. But I would love to do something like that, man, because I think it's way too much talent here in Augusta, Georgia. And I think I look at other big cities and how they represent for theirs, and we should be the same way.
Well, hopefully we get that change real soon.
I hope so, man. I would love that.
All right. But as far as radio, do you plan on having your own radio show or your own talk show, kind of like Jamie Foxx has the Foxhole? You want?
I would, yeah, I would definitely love to delve into that because I think there's a lot of things in on the radio show. I did get a lot of experience with a couple of different radio show ventures that I've done. I used to do a lot of stuff on the regular radio too, with Fast and Share, Selena Soul back in the day, my man Chills, different things I used to do on the actual radio. And then I was on Them Say What for some time. So I definitely would love to do something like that because I love to entertain. I love that platform. I love to talk to people. And there's a lot of different social issues and daily things that are going on that I would like to discuss on a regular basis.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. I can't wait to tune in whenever you get that.
Definitely. And then the podcast thing too. I'm definitely consider doing a podcast as well. They got a lot of different my comedy friends have different podcasts that they produce, and they're very, very informative. They sound good, and they get to the point of a lot of different things, man.
Oh man, you came to the right spot because I got 3 people that's just dying and itching to get their podcasts out there. So
man,
if you could hop from podcast to podcast, man, your name will be floating out there like oxygen. You know what I'm saying? Everybody needs some of that.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I need, man. And the platform, when you execute that, and people just think about it now. People need to hear your name over and over again, over and over again, over and over again. So if they hear it once, it's like, I heard his name, Saseddrick. But if you hear it 3-4 times, Saseddrick, I keep hearing his name. Who is this guy? Who is this person? That's how you turn people's ears to you. And then you may say, hey, I'm interviewing, today I'm interviewing Jamie Foxx. They may tune in to listen to Jamie Foxx that particular day, but if they keep hearing your name, Saseddrick, they're going to start tuning in to hear you as well. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to grab as many ears as I can, man.
Consistency is key.
Definitely.
So you said you sing and everything. Did it start in the choir, or do you just are you just a lover of music and you just project?
That's exactly how it is. I'm a lover of music, man. And when I hear stuff, I'm the kind of person that like to imitate it. You know what I'm saying? When I hear sounds and different I'm really big on voices. I love different voices, man. I love just the sound of music, the nostalgia that it gives you. And I love voices, man. And so I came up like everybody else, imitating Michael Jackson and, around the house, doing the moonwalk in the kitchen on the smooth flow with your socks on, and just listening to the different artists that my parents came up on, that whole Motown era, listening to that, the rich history of that sound, and just the different sounds that it breaks off into. The Minneapolis sound with people like Prince, Alexander O'Neal, The Time, people like that. And just timeless music, man. Music just takes you to a whole nother place, man. That's what I love about music.
So I'm a big fan of your work, obviously. And I noticed you posted on social media that you said you might want to start singing.
Yeah, man. You know what? Actually, people don't know it. Before I did comedy, I actually was singing. I had a singing group back in the day. Me and a couple of my homeboys that I was working with, we had a little singing group called Ignite, man. We was just about to start doing shows, and then everything just fell apart. And I kind of stopped doing it for a while. And then I started going back to, karaoke and started getting that itch again and started singing a little bit. But then the comedy thing came through, and then I kind of mixed the singing and the comedy together. So it kind of held me over. But now I'm starting to get that itch again, man. I want to just sing, man, because I like imitating different singers. I love, live bands and singing and all that stuff, man. I love to go to shows. So I'm starting to get that itch again, man. I'm looking at them. I'm like, you know what? I think I can do what they do. I'm sizing them up. I sized them up for a minute. I think I can get them.
But for anybody who hasn't seen this gentleman in action, when he does get it on with the singing,
oh yeah.
Oh man, I caught him singing with him and Trey McLaughlin and dog. I didn't know who the star was, but it all sounded good, man. It all sounded great.
Boy, man. Trey's great guy, man. Good people, man. Tremendous vocalist. I mean, just people like that is kind of people I like to be around, because with Trey, it's effortless, man. He makes everything sound good, and he sounds like himself every time. I do a lot of mimicking and imitating, so I be moving my voice around, but he is so pitch perfect and consistent, man. I mean, I take my hat off to him.
So, as a comedian,
Mm-hmm.
everybody has people that inspire them, just like I do.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I do so much, so my list is very long. But who's your top five as a comedian?
I've been asked this question on several interviews, and I've given different answers every time. So this is what I've come up with. All right. Now, my top five of all time. I feel like you got to have a white guy in there, because people will say that you're being biased if you don't have a white guy because I'm black. So my number one white guy has to be Seinfeld. All right, Seinfeld, the career, the show, the accomplishments, and for 25 straight years, he was like the top grossing comedian in the world. So I gotta make him number one. But my favorite white comedian of all time is Robin Williams. Robin Williams was a dynamic talent. He just recently, a couple years ago, he lost his life. But he was, if you look back through his comedy, man, his comedy was, A1. If you ever needed somebody to do anything, tell a story, do impersonations, quick jokes, he had the full repertoire, man. R.I.P. to Robin Williams. So he's going to be an honorable mention. But I got number five, I'm going with Seinfeld. Tough choices, man. Number four, I have to go with Bill Cosby. All right, because I think Bill Cosby set the standard for black comedy that everybody has to follow. He was timeless because he started out in the black exploitation films. He did those. He did clean stand-up his entire career. He always uplifted the black race, no matter what he was doing in his comedy or television show. If you notice, the Cosby Show showed a professional doctor and a professional black lawyer. And they had 5 kids. Nobody ever got kicked out of the house. Everybody was told that they were going to go to college. You know what I'm saying? Everything was put in a positive light. But then he made it funny. He had the number one show in the world for like as long as we could remember. You know what I mean? So with his total body of work, I got to put him at number 4. This way it gets kind of tough. All right. Number 3. Number 3. I done mulled over this for a long time, man. It's tough. This is tough. Number 3, I gotta go. And it's tough because 1, 2, and 3 are so close together. Number 3, I gotta give number 3 to Dave Chappelle. Okay? I'm going with Dave Chappelle at number 3. Yeah. Chappelle, even like his show that he had was so historic because he crossed racial lines like every week. You felt like he was going to get put on TV every week. But the timing and his genius and the type of comedy that he had, it appealed to all races, and he got everybody. That was the first time everybody actually watched a sketch comedy show since probably like in Living Color, an old Saturday Night Live, when everybody used to be like, oh my God, when is he gonna come on? When's he gonna come on? We were clamoring, waiting for that. And if you listen to his stand-up specials, man, the stuff that he delivers is so powerful and intelligent. He does stuff that nobody else can do. Some of the stuff he says, I couldn't get away with it. You know what I mean? And he's just a timeless legend, even after all the stuff that happened with the show, him leaving, going to Africa, coming back, and all the other confusion and stuff. He came right back and got 3 or 4 Netflix specials and put himself right back at the top. He completely took himself out the game. He came right back to the top, So I gotta put him up there. Top 2. Now this is tough. Accomplishments. I have to put, it hurts. I have to put Eddie Murphy at number 2 because of his body of work, his accomplishments, not only as a comedian, but as an actor, for him just transcending so many barriers to take everything to where he's taking it to. And Eddie Murphy was probably the first main male black superstar. He went from being a comedian to being a comedian in movies to being an all-out superstar, box office smash. So I got to give him the number 2 spot. And the number 1 spot goes to the man that changed the entire game, Richard Pryor. I mean, Richard Pryor, transitioning from the older black comics that was, kind of considered kind of raunchy, like your Red Foxes, Mom Mabley, some of that old school black comedy, transitioning into Richard Pryor was the first black movie star comedian. He started doing this comedy, taking it around the country, and then he started dominating the box office in the early 80s. And then he ushered in what we know as comedy now. The way people talk, the way they, the freedom that they use to talk about different things. He broke down a lot of barriers for us, and he brought it into the mainstream. So that's my top 5. It'll probably change because, it's always people we leave out. I wanted to put Bernie Mac in there. All the kings of comedy, they get honorable mention. They definitely in the top 10. They round out the top 10 with Robbie Williams for me. And I guess I gave y'all my top 10 instead of top 5. I talk too much sometimes.
That's what the interview's for. We need to know who you are as a person
Yes,
on top
sir.
of what you do. And a lot of people get that twisted too. They just try to show their act and just give them substance, but people want you as a person.
Yeah.
Like, what motivates you to do what you do? And that's what you give us.
Definitely.
So we definitely need that.
Yeah, that's in my prompt. I slipped 5 more in there. I gave you my top 10 instead of my top 5. So slide it in there real smooth.
So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, as far as your entire career, comedy, music, acting, just everything all together? Where do you see yourself?
In 5 years, I want to be a full-time entertainer. I definitely want to be traveling and supporting myself strictly off of entertainment. The calling card is going to be comedy, and whatever else we can branch off into. I definitely want to do the acting and singing. In this order, it'd be comedy, then it'd be acting, and then we'll mix singing in there as a third thing. So I'm trying to burn the candle at many ends as I can, so we can make it all blow up, baby.
Do you dance too? Be the triple threat?
And you know what? I two-step. I two-step now. Hey, I know a couple line dancers now. I got rhythm, but I ain't no, now I ain't gonna be no Chris Brown. No Chris Brown, no Neo. Ain't even gonna be no New Edition. I ain't gonna be doing like that. I'm a two-stepper.
All right.
That's it.
We're back for the old school. It's a little
That's it, man. Hey.
Keep it safe. Keep it safe.
I know that one old man there where you cross your feet and then do that. I do that, man. But once you get past that, nah. Yeah.
All right, that's what's up. So thank you so much, Saseddrick Washington, for being on the Sinewave TV. Could you let these people know where we can follow you at, your social media, website, things like that?
Definitely, man. Thank you for having me. First of all, you can reach me on social media under keyword Saseddrick. That's my birth name, my given name. My mother gave to me. So I know I won't hear that. My mama stuttering stuff. I done heard that already. But my name is Saseddrick. It's Saseddrick. You can follow me there on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. So follow me on all those platforms under the word Saseddrick. Saseddrick.